Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and I've been really busy for the last 3 weeks, and I've been traveling for journalism, for public speaking, doing interviews. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Texas for the Exit and Build Land Summit where I gave a talk. I also did an interview with comedian J.P. Sears. The next weekend, I went to Washington, D.C. for the Libertarian National Convention where I filmed Donald Trump speaking. I tried to interview him and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I did not get to interview them at the Libertarian Convention, but I did interview Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky, Gabriel Shipton, Julian Assange's half-brother. I also interviewed Mike Heiss of the Mises Caucus, and overall just got to take in that whole scene and report on it for you guys. And then most recently, I traveled to Austin, Texas for the Consensus Conference. It's a Bitcoin crypto conference. And I went there specifically to hear what the mainstream crypto audience is saying about regulation and things like that. But I also went to question Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which I was able to successfully this time, asking him 2 questions, one about Ross Ulrich being pardoned, and a second one really randomly in the hallway after I was told I only could get 1 question, caught him in the hallway coming out of the bathroom and asked him about Palestine and Israel. And so that's been what I've been up to over the last 3 weeks. And I just want to show you guys a little highlight reel of that to show you, in case you missed it, wherever you follow me at, all the different work that I've been up to. This is basically what I am capable of doing in a short amount of time when I have the support from you guys. So check this out.
What's cool, though, is to see now there are so many more people who understand this sort of holistic need, right? Like John said, some people, maybe you're just here for the homesteading, the tips on buying land, and that's obviously important, and there's going to be plenty of that coming up. But also, I do truly believe that there's more pieces to the puzzle than just how we grow our food and just how we protect ourselves and, you know, all those important things. Each of these pieces matter. And so the talk I'm giving today is called Countering Agenda 2030 by Living a Holistic Exit and Build Lifestyle. And so we're going to explain all of those terms in just a moment. But if you've heard me speak before, I usually end with my positive affirmation. And if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to start with that this time. Is that cool? Yeah. This affirmation, as I'm going to share with you guys through this talk, it came to me some very tough times in my life. It came to me while I was in prison. I went to prison at 20 years old, and that's really what started me on this journey I've been on, getting into drugs, depression, suicide attempts, and then eventually being locked up. I don't know if those things hadn't happened to me if I would be here right now. I think I, for whatever reason, had to go through that. And when I was in some of those very dark places, this phrase, mantra, whatever you want to say, it just helped me through some tough times. You know, literally just like at times where I thought, like, I can't do this. There's just too much stacked up against me. Like, it's easier to just give in and go back and do what I used to do because trying to work through this is too hard. And so this phrase is something I would use. So if you feel inclined, if you resonate with this, feel free to repeat after me. I am powerful.
I am powerful.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am free. Nobody else can tell you what's going on in here and what's going on here but you. We all understand the importance of localization. The most local you can go is right here. Is start right here, in your own heart, in your own mind, talking with other people, helping them. And again, I'm going to emphasize this to the men in the room. Being there for each other, being that support system, letting our brothers and sisters know that it's okay if we've got struggles and things going on. That doesn't mean we're not going to do all the physical, manly work and, you know, still have that masculinity. In fact, I think there's a confusion that being masculine means you don't talk about your feelings. We need to rethink that too. We need to remake that whole idea that only women being feminine means talking about feelings. Why can't a masculine identity, a masculine trait be expressing yourself? For me, it is, and I encourage more of you to pursue that, whether you're male or female or whatever you are, just pursuing your feelings, your emotions, and getting deeper into that. Because yes, we do need to build communities. We need to grow food. We need to store seeds. We need to store food. Get you some guns if you feel secure that way. Whatever tactics you think, but don't forget about the inner self. This is ultimately a spiritual battle. I 100% believe that, and I also 100% know that each of us are here on this planet for a reason, for a purpose. I mean, this is the most beautiful time to be alive, because instead of watching tyranny rise and passing it on to the next generation, we get to say we are here to direct the course of history of humanity. We get to play a direct role, my friends.
Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and I'm back in Texas at the Exit and Build Land Summit with The man himself, JP Sears, how are you doing?
Derrick, I'm good, and thank you for having me on, brother.
Thank you for talking with me. You just got off the stage sharing your words of wisdom. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, do you think about it different than maybe when you started? Like, the way you approach the messaging and everything?
Yeah, well, first, for you to even say it's Carlin territory is a tremendous compliment. Maybe not deserved, but thank you for that.
Well, we don't have too many of those comedians like that anymore, beside yourself, Brent, we mentioned, Brent Pella, and a few others, so thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for recognizing it. So how I use comedy to express a deeper message, it actually hasn't changed. The content has changed, and hopefully I've gotten better, more resolved, more in touch with my values, and more bold with the message. But when I started comedy, I was doing comedy largely in like this spiritual New Age community, using the language of comedy to help call out the egotistical nature that was in these, cool self-growth practices, but egotistical nature is there behind a noble-looking hiding spot, people doing spiritual bypass, including me. So now I basically use that same formula, wanting to shine the light of awareness on truth, best I can see it, and use a sort of satire to slice through the psychological lies, hypocrisy, and corruption that we either tell ourselves or are told to us.
Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network. I'm here at the Libertarian National Convention in D.C. with Gabriel Shipton, the brother of Julian Assange. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Derrick.
I just heard you give a really passionate speech downstairs, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we did just have an update this week with Julian's situation. Could you share a little bit about that? How what's the next step, and what was the results?
So the next step is Julian's lawyers, I think, have until today to get back to the judges with their schedule, and then the judges will choose a date for this appeal hearing that the judges essentially gave leave for Julian to appeal.
You co-sponsored the Federal Reserve Board Abolition Act. Can you talk about the importance of bringing that issue back, which most people, especially here at the Libertarian Convention, learned about through Ron Paul?
Yeah, I joke that it's like the McRib. It's coming back, whether you like it or not. And the last time it was introduced was by Paul Brown. There were only two co-sponsors, myself and Ted Yoho. And I'm the only remaining member of Congress who sponsored it when Ron Paul was in the House of Representatives. What's fascinating to me is that 10 years ago, we got three co-sponsors on this bill. Spent 2 years getting co-sponsors and got three. This time, right, coincident with the introduction of the bill, I have 24 co-sponsors. So what's happened since Ron Paul introduced the bill, last introduced the bill 10 years ago, and now? Well, you've seen an erosion of trust in institutions. We all know FBI, CDC, FDA, these institutions, DOJ, institutions which used to have a level of trust, probably misplaced trust, but some level of trust among Americans has been eroded from the things that we've learned. And so also the things that Ron Paul were predicting have come true. We've got massive inflation. Just in 4 years, we've seen 25% of the dollar evaporate.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
Would you go a step further? I know you said a moment ago, would you pardon him? He's saying commute, but would you actually consider pardoning Ross Ulbricht on day one?
I need to, and I told this to Ross's mother, as soon as I get into the White House, I'm going to look at Ross's case very, very carefully and figure out a just outcome. And then, I don't know whether that means pardoning him or commuting it. I don't know yet. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make a frivolous commitment without knowing all of the facts. I'm going to have my Attorney General review it, but I'm going to do it very, very quickly, and I'm going to reach a decision and an outcome very quickly within the first couple of weeks of taking office.
You offer a different message, but one area where you align with the two other guys is on the support for Zionism in Israel. Do you have anything to say to those supporters who might be kind of who want to support you but are concerned about that?
They're fighting a defense war.
Do you still think the Palestinians are the most pampered people in the world?
I think that Palestinians have received more money than any other group in the world from the international aid agencies. Approximately $8,600 per person. After World War II, we rebuilt Europe and the expenditure was about $626 per person. So Palestinians receive more than 10 times that. I'm very pro-Palestinian. I want them to receive that money. But the question is, why is Palestine now one of the richest countries in the Mideast? The reason for that is because the leadership has stolen that money. The top, Ismail Haniyeh, who runs Hamas, is at a net worth of $4 billion. The other leaders of Hamas are billionaires or 100 millionaires. And they've used that money to make war, to build an underground city, 300 miles of tunnels. They're not using it to benefit the Palestinian people. Palestinian people ought to be pampered, but they weren't. They're starved, but not by Israel, by their own leaders.
Any comment on the Sunday bombing?
No, thank you.
The bombing on Sunday, Bobby?
That's it.
So as you can see there, very busy time, and it came out with 3 interviews, 3, maybe 4 at the Libertarian Convention. Got to interview JP at the Exit and Build Land Summit, plus do a presentation, which I'm about to be releasing on my channels, and also get Robert F. Kennedy Jr. question him twice at the Consensus Conference. Now, I want to make it clear that all of that travel, except for John Bush taking care of me to get to Texas for the Exit and Build Land Summit, where I was able to interview JP Sears. Besides that, my flight, hotel, housing, food, etc., to get to Washington, D.C., gas money to get to Austin, Texas for the Consensus Conference to do this reporting, I easily spent over $1,000 in just that bit of travel. And I'm sure more if I were to really add it up. This all came out of pocket. Now, thankfully, some of you out there are supporting me monthly on Buy Me a Coffee and Substack, so that money goes into my accounts, and then I use it for projects like this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I just wanted to show you this quick little reel to show you not only what I've been up to, but more importantly, what I'm capable of. Again, this is what I'm capable of if you fund me. I am nearly 100% completely listener, reader, etc., funded. The only money I get paid out of all my work is from Ryan Christian of The Last American Vagabond. I get paid a monthly salary for my articles, and I'm very grateful for that. But for all the traveling I do, the interviews, the podcast, etc., that stuff comes out of my pocket. And if you want to help make sure I can do more of that, please consider funding me at derrickbroze.substack.com or buymeacoffee.com/Derrick Broze. You can also just go directly to theconsciousresistance.com/invest. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support my work. Stay tuned for a lot more important things coming up. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace. Since 2012, the Conscious Resistance Network has been an independent media organization focused on empowering individuals through education, philosophy, health, and community organizing. We work to create a world where corporate and state power do not rule over the lives of free human beings. Our motto is leading by example and helping others in their pursuit of freedom. Visit theconsciousresistance.com to find our articles, documentaries, interviews, podcasts, books, and more. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free.